What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Dudes Who Bet Daily. Shorter field here, just a couple of scratches. One of them last second, kind of like we're at Saratoga here. Papa Dude with me, Magic here, and Papa Dude. We went 2-2 yesterday. You and I both had some bad luck in our games. I thought for sure Kevin Gossman over 6.5 Ks. It was looking great. He got to a 1-2 count, and then he gave up a big hit, and they decided to pull him, and he was sitting on 6 Ks. And I needed 6.5. And that was it. And then the Angels. Things did not go too well for Shohei Ohtani last night, but that's okay. We're back today. We're gonna keep things going, and we only down $8 for the week. That's the impressive part.
Yeah, well, the Angels. It wasn't Ohtani. They gave up 4 in the ninth. They had a 3-1 lead going into the ninth inning, and lost it. I don't know how many bets you and I have missed, like we missed last night. We've had a ton of them, haven't we? I mean, you've been on a roll on this show. And the same thing on the best bets page on the website. I got everything but the Angels game again. I can't get all three. I had 3 bets, got 2 of them, and then that one I thought I had, and couldn't get it. So,
well, we also both of us had a parlay that included the Rangers money line, and that very early looked very. It was very nerve wracking. I think Max Scherzer very nervous in his debut for the Rangers, but he got things under control. I knew what I should have done. Where I screwed up is my boy JP Sears was pitching last night for the A's, and I also played the under 5 for the first 5, and that cashed absolutely. That I should have done that instead of the Gossman. I got a little the strikeout king of the AL. I thought was for sure a lock to get at least 7 Ks. It didn't work, but you know what? We've got a shorter show today. We'll get started with some baseball. We're going to talk about the 2 New York teams. We'll see which one we think is worse. We've got the Astros. After being underdogs against the Yankees, at least with the start of Showtime yesterday, absolutely handled them. But now the Astros didn't handle them. The Yankees ended up getting them 4-3. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong stat. Now the Astros off that loss are a -146 favorite. What did you do with this game, Papa Dude?
Well, I can't bet anything with the Yankees because Severino's pitching, and I always bet against Severino. So, I think you and I bet a little bit similar on the best bets page. It seems like we try to get them right. And sometimes we'll bet these short prices. I don't know whether you do or not, but I do. And I would take Houston all day today at -146 because you're still going to get a decent profit. And you got to be sure on these minus bets. You got to be as sure as you can be before you take them. And I'm almost there with Houston on this one because I don't like Severino, and I usually bet against the Yankees when he's pitching. So I would go with Houston in that short price today.
I agree with you. What surprised me, and I was thinking about putting this into my parlay, I didn't because I didn't quite understand the number. First 5 innings for the Astros versus the Yankees, if you go minus a half run for the Astros, you're actually getting -105, so a bit of an advantage, but even -135 outright for it. And the reason I do that is because Severino's pitching, like you mentioned, he has really struggled in his last 6 starts, and batters are hitting .410 against him since the beginning of July. So that's 5 starts, and now he's facing one of the best lineups in all of baseball in the Houston Astros. You also, there's projected rain. You could get a rain delay here for the Yankees game tonight. Start time is 7:05 Eastern, and you could definitely see a delay there. And if that happens, I think Severino gets pulled relatively early, and so I think the Astros might light him up. You see Severino get out. So first 5 might be how I play that one, but I'm with you. Whenever Severino is taking the mound right now, it's Papa Dude. It's a big play against. You're right.
Yep, no doubt.
Next game, we'll talk about Mets and Orioles. The New York Mets were favored against the Kansas City or were underdogs against the Kansas City Royals, and we all thought they can't lose 3 straight to the Royals. They're terrible. It's the Mets. They'll get one right. They lost 9-2. We should have known. We should have known not to do it. Now they head to one of the best teams in baseball, Baltimore Orioles right now. Huge favorite for the Orioles, -162, the run line at 9. Did you do anything with this game?
That's another one that I got it a little bit cheaper earlier this morning. I look at several websites when I'm going through the bets just to kind of get an idea of how other people are feeling. I don't know if you do that, but I do some. There's several sites I go to and look at, and I was shocked. 4 of the 7 sites that I looked at picked the Mets. I don't understand. I can't see why. I can't. Can you? Do you see any angle where the Mets, you would play the Mets? I think they've tanked it. I think they're done. I really do. In Baltimore, for some reason, the Orioles are not getting any respect. Now, they are minus 162 tonight, but when you look at the pitching matchups and everything, I don't see how the Mets can be anybody could pick the Mets. I just don't see how you can. I don't.
So Jason Hummel, an interesting thing. I don't know what the Malinsky special is, but you fade a team in their first game home after a long road trip. You do have that. The Orioles starting a 6-game homestand. 11 of the last 14 were on the road, and then they've got the Mets and then the Astros after the Mets, and then they go back out west for about 9 or 10 games. So maybe that's the angle. First time back, they're a little relieved, but you also have the Mets probably going to have a bullpen game. David Peterson's going to be starting the game, but he's a lot more of a bullpen, or doesn't last very long. He hasn't gone more than 2 innings in his last 6 appearances. So you got that. D. Kramer taking them out for the Orioles. He gives up hits, but it's he's not terrible. He's by the way, Baltimore in 22 games that Kramer started this year, 16-6, including all 5 starts in July were wins. So
I just think Baltimore has got to hold off Tampa Bay, so they're not. They're going to come into this. They're home. They probably will have a good crowd. I don't see them not being ready to play this game, and I think the Mets might lose 30 of their last 40. I just don't think the Mets have any interest in playing. There's too many things going good for Baltimore and going bad for the Mets to take the Mets in this game.
I was looking at their last matchups because they're 2 different leagues, so you don't see them play very often. And the Mets have beaten the Orioles 4 of their last 5 matchups. The last one came June 9th, 2021. Different fortunes for these teams entirely since June of 2021. We'll get into the best bets now. We're going to stick with baseball. We'll do Saratoga horse races at the end. Mike Somich is not here. He got a last-second call away, but his best bet, the Dodgers playing the Padres, and he got them at plus 115. I think the number's trending a little bit more towards the Dodgers here. And this is an interesting one, Papa Dude. San Diego, last 15 games, they're 10-5. Which is a great streak for them. But the problem is they're playing the Dodgers, and they usually do not play well against the Dodgers. They were 5-14 against the Dodgers last year. So the Dodgers 5-1 right now since May 5th against them, outscoring them 19-7 on the runs. Do you like this move? Because I kind of do for the.
I think so. They're kind of the little stepsister to the Dodgers, right? And you see this a lot. In sports, it's kind of like the Padres just have a thing about the Dodgers that they feel like they're inferior. They got an inferiority complex with the Dodgers. I don't know why, but they do. I guess because the Dodgers have all that tradition and the Padres don't really. When you look at the matchup tonight, San Diego is playing pretty well now. They've gotten themselves, right a little bit. I think they're only a game under 500. The pitching matchup, if Darvish is right, they might have a little bit of an edge because Miller's pitching for the Dodgers, and he hasn't been pitching very well lately. So, I can't pick them either. But, they could win. But it's the Dodgers just have their number, and the Dodgers are playing great right now too. So I like the bet.
I might also go, if you want to do a little in-game parlay, the first 5 for the Padres, I think, might be an angle to go. You can get plus 105 with a minus half run. Darvish has been coming off of a very strong outing, and the Dodgers put rookie Bobby Miller on, and he's last outing was a little bit of a struggle for him. To me, I think this is a game where the Dodgers come from behind a little bit later in the game. So you could try and mix that one in a little bit as well. Let's move on. Your best bet here. And this is an interesting one. I was a little surprised when I saw this. You're going Cubs plus 151, but the Braves have last year's NL Cy Young runner-up, Max Fried, back on the team. Atlanta's won 5 of its past 6, but Chicago also on a hot streak here. So talk to me about why this is your best bet.
Well, a couple of reasons. One, I can't get a damn best bet for my life. I just can't. So I thought, okay, let's just go against the best team in baseball today. Why don't we just try that angle and see if that'll work? And I do like the Cubs today. Several reasons. One, Atlanta leads their division by about 10, 11 games. Okay. And they're going into a red hot Chicago team. Wrigley is going to be bouncing today with the best team in baseball coming in against the Cubs, who, by the way, have the best record in I believe in the entire league since the All-Star break. They are rolling. And I think this is going to be a hell of an atmosphere today in Wrigley. And with Fried coming back, he hasn't pitched in 3 months, and he had some arm issues. I can't see the Braves pitching him more than 5 innings. I just can't see it. If the Cubs can stay in there, and their bats are red hot, they're coming off 3 games against Cincinnati where they look great. This is a huge game for them. They are playing their way into a wild card spot, or they can even win the division. They're only, I think, 2.5 games out of first place in a weak division. I like them a lot in this game. I think they're going to ride the momentum. I don't think Atlanta's going to pitch Fried very long. I think they're with a shot at plus 151. I used to, teams go into Wrigley sometimes, and I tell you, when the Cubs are rolling, it's hard to beat them in there. So I like them today, and I think this is a decent bet at plus 151.
There could be a lot of long balls today. You've got Acuna, Riley, and Olsen all coming off of a home run game for the Braves, and they lead the majors with 206 total home runs on the season. But the Cubs have got Cody Bellinger. He's 357 with 9 homers in his last 41 games. So could be plenty of offense. Maybe if you like the over as well, this could be a fun one. But it's going to be a fun game because especially the Cubs kind of were very rough and rocky earlier in the season. So we'll see how they do against the Atlanta Braves. We'll stay with baseball for my parlay bet. I've got a couple of first 5-inning parlays here. And here's why. When you like 2 starting pitcher matchups, but you hate the bullpens for both the teams, this is what you do. The Reds, I don't know what happened other than they failed to trade for JP Sears. I think that's going to be their downfall this year for the Cincinnati Reds. But their bullpen's been really rough. However, they are putting their best pitcher right now, which is Graham Cracker Crunch Ashcraft. Last 6 starts, a total of 7 earned runs given up, and is now facing a Washington Nationals team. Sends Patrick Corbin to the mound. He struggled against the New York Mets, gave up 4 runs on 6 hits in a 5 2/3 inning game. They did get the win, but it was the New York Mets, and he looked pretty rough against them. Last time he went against the Reds, 6 runs on 10 hits in an 8-4 loss. So I like that angle. And then going with St. Louis Cardinals, I don't know if I've ever picked a Cardinals game on here before, but Adam Wainwright, 41-year-old Adam Wainwright, retiring at the end of the year. He's sitting on 198 wins. He's trying to get to 200 before he retires at the end of the year. I think this is a spot where he can get it. You've got the Rockies putting Chris Flexen out there. He's 0-5 with an over 8 ERA. Not very good. He was so bad for the Mariners that they traded him to the Mets, and the Mets said, we don't want this, and released him. They didn't even try him. They're like, they traded for him, but never mind. Go away. We're spending all this money on Scherzer and Verlander to not play for us. We'll pay you to not play for us as well. He didn't do well against the Oakland A's, gave up 2 homers and 6 runs, 6 walks in a game that they lost 11-3. That was really rough for him. And again, this Adam Wainwright is very strong when he plays against the Rockies. 18 outings, 14 starts. He's 12-1 with a 1.38 ERA. And that tells me most all of those games were not in Colorado for him to have such a low ERA. But Papa Dude, we're not in Colorado. We're in St. Louis. So give me the Reds and the Redbirds in a parlay. First 5 innings, -1.5 run for both of them. Plus 224 is going to pay for the whole day if it cashes.
That's right. I love it. I took the over in this game, too. I think this is going to go over. It's 9.5, and I think the Cardinals might score that themselves. So I'm pulling for Wainwright. I'm not a Cardinals fan, but I am a Wainwright fan. I'd love to see him get 200. I agree with you. This is a great shot to get 199.
Yeah, Aaron Marshall bringing up, he's been pretty terrible. He's had a lot of injury issues. He's 41 trying to play sports. Ask Mike Somich how being 40 and playing sports goes for you. Just doesn't work as well as it did when you were in your 20s or 30s. And then Dr. Tang, his best bet, the over in the Cincinnati Reds Washington Nationals game. So it could be good there. Maybe he's thinking, hopefully for my sake, he's thinking the Reds just absolutely light up the Washington Nationals, which could happen. All right, we got 2 races we're going to talk about, and we'll get out of here. We'll do first one. We'll do Aaron's best bet. We'll do race 7. I'll switch it up here. Race 7, the Grade 3 Saratoga Oaks. You've got now a field of, it's going to be a field of 10 in here because Aspen Grove, winner of the Belmont Oaks, is going to scratch out of it and run in the Saratoga Derby against the boys tomorrow. Your favorite, the number 3 Elusive Princess, 7-2. That's Aaron's best bet. It's also Mike Somich's top pick in this race. And if you want a full explanation of why we all like this horse, Vinny Blond made this his best bet as well, which tells me 7-2 is a pipe dream. You're probably going to get closer to 6-5, 7-5 on her. But this is a French-bred horse that has been running entirely in France, comes over first time in America. She gets the French jockey sensation Flavien Prat to ride. And Papa Dude, earlier this year, she was a half length away from winning a Group 3 race and then a 3/4 of a length away from winning a Group 1 over in France. So a couple of big-time efforts. She's going to be getting some firmer ground than she had in those. Those were yielding races, but still should be a cut in the turf. I think that's going to help her here. Did you look at this race at all?
Yeah, I've got her on top as well. So I think we got a clean sweep. I don't know whether that's good or not, but we all like this horse.
One horse to possibly look out at, a little bit of a price you might get on her. The number 4 is Zagira. It looks like she could have lone speed, and she's coming off of 2 straight wins, including an ungraded stakes at Ellis Park. This is a big step up, and she's stretching out to a mile 3/16. But other than the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf last year, when she was had a bad start, and she's a forwardly placed horse, so she's never involved. So scratch that off. She's been very talented, so watch out for the 4 Zagira on the stretch out here. Race of the day, the last thing we'll talk about, race 8 right after this, the Grade 2 Hall of Fame Stakes for 3-year-olds going a mile on the inner turf. It's going to be yielding. You're going to have an interesting setup here. The 7 Nazarok was your 7-2 morning line favorite, but he is scratched, and that drastically alters the pace scenario because he was projected to be up on the lead. For this one, I think it also hurts the number 1 More Than Looks, who's a dead set closer. See how he handles the yielding turf. Did you take a look at this one, Papa Dude? Have any strong opinions?
I do. I don't have any strong opinions. I thought this was a difficult race. It is made easier since the 7 scratch. That's a contender that we don't have to worry about. So, I mean, I don't know how you looked at it. I think this one's really tough. I thought it was tough even with the 7. Him getting out of there's helped some. There's a case you can make for a lot of them. I settled on an old, reliable horse. Well, it's not old, but one that comes up with a good one every once in a while, and it's 6-1. I think these odds are going to go down. We're not going to get 6-1 on him with the 7 out. I went with number 6, General Jim. If he can come back to the form he showed in the Pat Day Mile at Churchill, I think he's good enough to win. He did not run well, though, in the Woody Stevens on June 10th. I'm a little worried about that, but I'm going to just throw that one out, and I just think he's got a good shot. I think he'll get close to the lead, and I think he's got a shot to hang in there to win. So I'm going with the 6, General Jim.
I think this is a great pick as well. I don't no idea what the odds will be. Probably maybe 3-1 on him or something like that. But this is a horse that really looked like going to be a turf horse. His first 2 wins came on turf, including going a mile and 16th over this exact course at Saratoga to break the maiden. And then he was 3rd in the stakes at Aqueduct as a 2-year-old. And then the connection just decided to see, well, what's the Derby Trail situation like for him? What can we do? And he had some great efforts on dirt. The Woody Stevens, I think you can scratch off Papa Dude because if you look at the run line, he didn't break well and he was very far behind early. And the horses that were in the top 4 at the finish line were in the top 3 early on in the race. So the fact that he was that far back, it didn't set up well for him. I think he's pretty great. I have no idea what price I'll get on the number 3 Appraise, but this is going to be my top pick. He's 10-1 on the morning line, but you got Flavien Prat riding for Chad Brown. He's coming off of a really strong 7-furlong allowance win at Belmont Park to start his 3-year-old year. A horse that Chad Brown was very excited about as a 2-year-old, broke his maiden going 5.5 on debut here. I think from a pace perspective, the 2, the 6, and the 10, you could all see them probably go, and at least the 2 and the 10, I think will be part of the early pace. I think the 3, possibly the General Jim, the 6 horse sit right off behind them, and that's going to be the right position. Get the jump on them and hope that More Than Looks coming from the rear isn't going to be able to dig into that yielding turf and really come get him. So I like the 3. I also like the 6. I had the 6 and 2nd with the scratch of Najarok in this spot.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a really good race to watch. I got the 3 seconds, so see, we just got them flipped. So.
With a little bit of a bat flip there, the number 2
That's
horse.
right. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks everybody for joining us. We appreciate it. Quick tip of the cap to I believe it's 3 Steeds was saying thank you for our talk yesterday. Warlike Goddess lost. She lost at the wire to the horse that I tipped off. McCulloch at 4-1 got the win. So hopefully you've listened to the show and cashed in on that. And we'll see what we do today. We'll put up the best bets one last time. I'm going with a first 5 parlay in Major League Baseball. Reds and Cards, both minus a half run, plus 224. Aaron, race 7 at Saratoga today. Number 3, Elusive Princess, 7-2 morning line. Probably half that, if less than that. And then Somich with the Dodgers, plus 115 against the Padres. Papa Dude Cubs, plus 151 against the Atlanta Braves. 2-2 for the week so far, just down $8. Still up 576 year to date. Super impressive. Very proud of the team as we hit August now. And still showing a very strong ROI year to date. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you go over to racingnews.com, get the previews for the Saratoga Oaks and the Hall of Fame Stakes, as well as everything this weekend. If you're going to be at Saratoga, Aaron and Jared are in town at the track all weekend long, so go say hi to them. We'll see you tomorrow for another Dudes Who Bet Daily. See ya.